What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV. It's finished here. PSG 2, Tottenham 2. PSG have won on penalties. And you know what?
Lifting the trophy as we speak.
Yeah, you know what? That's
the music.
Absolutely gutting today. Absolutely gutting. I think the boys fought their socks out for pretty much the whole game. We deserved to win that game. For 75 minutes, I thought we were the better team, and the way they worked was just incredible. And I give them so much credit. I really do. Paulinho, unbelievable performance in the number 6. Pape Matar, brilliant. I think Mohamed Kudus, was he playing DM today? I don't know what he was doing, but he was unbelievable. Literally, I can talk about every player that started the game today and say how unbelievable they played, but the way they fought for the team, the way Frank got us set up, we looked like the better team against PSG today, and that's only a credit to Thomas Frank and only a credit for the players on the pitch. But we don't take home the trophy, and we were 2-0 up with 4 minutes to go, and you can't let that slip.
It was looking like a Frank masterclass for a long period of that game, and I was really impressed with what I saw for a lot of that game. I think the aggression, I think they did what I hoped they would do, which was actually went after them a bit, asked them some different questions, really high pressing. And I think PSG were definitely rusty today, you could see that. Apologies for my voice, I've been shouting a bit, but PSG definitely weren't themselves for large parts of the game. I think we had an opportunity, especially I think they played into our hands a bit, the fact that they played Doué in midfield and the front three. I think it kind of allowed us to dominate our midfield battle. It kind of allowed us to physically dominate them in the middle with Paulinho, Sarr and Bentancur. All three of them were top notch today, and I think PSG really struggled to deal with that. And look, to be fair, the 2 goals we scored were both set pieces, so it's not like we created too much from open play, and I think that's true. I can't remember too much we did create from open
You're
play.
playing a team like PSG that can create chances at will.
It's not a criticism.
And
it's
let's
just
be real,
a
for
fact.
80 minutes they didn't create anything.
Correct. It's not a criticism. It's just a fact. We relied on set pieces, long throws, free kicks. That was our avenue for creating, and we made the most of them. You know, Van de Ven got the goal just before half time, and Raul Romero put us 2-0 up, and he thought the plan is working to perfection. You know, we kept things resolute, played a back 3 today, which, you know, Frank pulled a bit of a surprise there, and he had a trick up his sleeve playing a back 3, and it was looking like it was working to perfection up until I felt Fabian Ruiz came on.
Yeah, it wasn't. I don't think it was just Fabian Ruiz coming on. It was also the changes that we made as well. It just changed the whole dynamic. It just changed the whole dynamic of the game. Archie Gray coming on for João Paulinho obviously was going to make us a bit weaker in midfield, and Fabian Ruiz obviously took control of that and took advantage of it.
I think our subs obviously contributed, but you know, Paulinho was getting tired, and Charlotte was getting tired. You got to sub them off. You know, if physically they need to come off, you got to take them off, and that's what he did. And
the players that came on weren't as kind of influential.
I felt like Ruiz gave them that little bit more in the middle, which was lacking for a lot of the game, and I think it allowed them to, all of a sudden they were able to much easier get to our box.
Absolutely.
And it was like before they weren't even able to be camped out outside our box. They were struggling to even get there before. We were pressing them, we were winning the ball in difficult situations, like we were blocking passes. As soon as Ruiz came on, and Lee Kang as well, to be fair, all of a sudden they found it a lot easier to get into those areas. And then obviously Lee Kang got the goal 5 minutes before the end, and brilliant finish from him on the edge of the box. You're thinking, look, they scored. I think they looked better even before they scored, but I wouldn't say they looked like scoring. And then they got the goal, and then all of a sudden, you know, you got 4 minutes plus 6 minutes stoppage time. I wouldn't say I was like, oh no, we're definitely going to concede, but you leave the door open, don't you? When you're 2-0 up, and all of a sudden that deficit gets halved, and you've got all those minutes to cling on. I have to say, Richarlison and Kudus were doing a brilliant job holding the ball up. Slanky and Tell not so much. They didn't do. I think Tell especially.
A lot of criticism coming from Tell from the stands. And obviously he misses the penalty as well, the decisive one for us. And you know, he sets the keeper the wrong way and then just goes wide. It's just really,
the penalty I've got.
So unfortunate.
The penalty, I've got a bit more sympathy for him. I think his overall performance was kind of weak, and there was a lot of moments where either he could have chased a lost cause, or he could use a bit more strength and hold off a player like Rishi was doing, and he just either wasn't capable of doing it, or wasn't up to the challenge. Either way, it wasn't a great look, the cameo from Tell, I have to say. And then his penalty, I have a bit of sympathy because I thought actually the way he sat the keeper down was actually quite impressive, but
he goes wide. It doesn't go on target. If it's on target, it's a goal.
Yeah, of course. And then we're praising him for a great composure for the penalty. But unfortunately, he puts it wide.
It's a poor hit.
So obviously, it's a poor penalty. But I like the way he approached it. But 9 times out of 10, he puts it in the back of the net. But unfortunately, this was the 10th.
Look, we've lost the game today. We've lost on penalties, but we've gone.
And we were leading on penalties as well. We gave that up.
Yeah, we scored the first one. They missed the first one, and then. Yeah, it was all kind of downhill from there. But look, I want to say that I just give so much credit to the team today, the way they fought, the way they went toe-to-toe with PSG. When we had our first 11 out there, I felt like we were the better team for about 75, 80 minutes. I felt like PSG were finding it hard to break us down. And, we even hit the woodwork, didn't we? And it could have been 3. So I give so much credit to the way we conducted ourselves on the pitch. Pure warriors. For 80 minutes. It's just a shame that the way the game ended, but we live to fight another day.
For me, there's a couple of ways I look at it. I agree with you. Much praise for the team because the way we approached the game going into it, I really thought it was not going to be easy at all. I thought actually we were going to lose quite heavily, and the fact that we not only went toe to toe with them, but we competed extremely well, and we're actually the better team for large parts, was very impressive. And the team effort was there for all to see, the organisation. You saw how difficult we were to play against, and I think that a lot of credit goes to Frank and the team, the coaching staff, and the team obviously got out there for their roles. I thought the way we were holding the ball up, just asking difficult questions of PSG and making it difficult for them, and they really struggled.
Aggressive.
On the flip side, I do think that you saw the effects of PSG not having much pre-season. I do think you saw the effects of them only having a week of training or whatever it was. And there was definitely opportunity there. You can't deny it. That PSG were not the PSG that we've seen for large parts of last season. They were off their game today. And I think that we caught, look, I'm not taking anything away from Tottenham, but we did catch them on a good day. I think that's fair to say. The keeper made a howler
and we didn't take advantage.
The keeper made a howler for the second goal. We're 2-0 up. 5 minutes to go. They're having an off day. You've got to make sure you see the job through, and that is gutting that we weren't able to do it. And I think we'll look back at this as a massive missed opportunity at the end of the day. As much as I credit the team, and seeing what I saw today, obviously compared to what we saw against Bayern, you've got to be encouraged by that. But at the end of the day, it was I think the main thing is a missed opportunity. I think.
I'll tell you what though, I've been worried about going into the Champions League and facing this kind of level of opposition, particularly after the Bayern Munich game. After seeing that and the way we fought and the way we were so hard to break through, it gives me hope going into the Champions League for next season. For me.
Yeah, I agree. And hopefully that's more evidence that we will be able to compete, even in away games, hopefully against these really good opposition. But are we going to get, if we face the likes of PSG again, or Barca and stuff like that, are they going to be having an off day like PSG were today, or are they going to be in better form? Look, that remains to be seen. Regardless, on 86 minutes, that was a European trophy. By the end of it was a friendly. That was that's my takeaway. As much as it's frustrating and a bit heartbreaking that we didn't get our second European trophy in quick succession, at the end of the day, it is a Super Cup. It is basically a charity shield for Europe, and I would like to have won it. I'm not going to deny. I'm not going to sit here and say I don't really care, because I would have liked to have won it, but I'm not going to sit here and say this would have been the most amazing trophy to have
Look,
won.
we wouldn't have been parading the trophy down Tottenham High Road on a parade if we would have won it. However, it is just gutting. It's really hard to take in the manner of which we lost it, because we were so good for large parts of the game, and we've literally just thrown it away with 4 minutes to go. 2-0 up going into the last 5 minutes. You have to see that out no matter who you're playing against. So it's really hard to take from that aspect, but I take a lot more positives than negatives from this game, in my opinion. And look, we live to fight another day. We move on. First Premier League game on the weekend against Burnley. It's going to have to be a very different performance against Burnley to go and take them to the sword. But
I hope we get some reinforcements in.
Yeah, we need signings. desperately need signings in before. Well, are we going to get it before Burnley? I don't think so, but we need it in before the end of the window, that's for sure. Eze, Safinho, get it done. It's not one or the other, it needs to be both. But look, once again, I'll say it's really hard to take today, but very proud of the team. And we'll see you very soon. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on Spurs.